Yeah.
Yay! Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Spirit Cafe Sessions with Nikki and
It's me, Kim. Still
and
Kim.
we still Kim.
Yeah.
Exactly. We are super excited to introduce this episode. I think it's a very popular topic that we're going to be talking about. Kim and I get like questions from our sitters and our clients all the time about it. So I really think that you guys are going to like this one, right, Kim?
I sure hope so. I know you will.
Yeah, they will. They absolutely will. So this episode is called
Signs and, oh God,
Synchronicities.
synchronicities. And are they coincidences?
No, because there's no such thing, but that's okay.
Right? Right.
Anyway, so let's open up this episode with the tarot reading of the day, which I am using the Light Seers deck because it's one of my favorites. I really have to replace it because I use it nonstop. But let's see what we've got. What's the energy of the week? What are some people going to be feeling? What do we have here? Okay. I love this. It's the Hierophant.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Tradition, value, signs, divine timing, if you believe it, divine alignment. So look at that. A lot of our listeners could be coming into experiences, I should say, that they feel are fated. Definitely full of signs this week, I have a feeling. So maybe this episode's going to trigger something with some of you amazing listeners where you're going to start seeing some signs about possibly having to make a decision in your life. Um, for your greater good.
And if it's not triggering them, it might just make you aware of them to keep an eye out. And then they
That's
may
right.
never stop again.
That's exactly it. Exactly it.
Mhm.
By the way, everybody, I am drinking black tea again, and it's a tea from Egypt that my mom brought me,
Oh, yum.
uh, and I had quite a laugh of with it with one of my very dear, dear best people in the world. The tea, it's a black tea, and it's called Romantic Moments. Pretty sure my mom wants me to fix my love life.
Mm, must
It's
be
funny.
trying to throw things out at you.
Seriously. It's funny because it's true. But yes, it's actually a very good tea. And it's funny because I actually can't even find out what's in it, which is kind of concerning. But I've had more than one cup of it. So even though I don't know 100% what's in it, it is absolutely tasty and wonderful. And for anyone that wants to know, apparently it does bring good luck into your love life.
Nice.
That's
Well,
my
there you
mother.
go.
That's
So
my
you should
mother.
just be having them all, just moving on in,
That's she'd probably have me drink nothing but this.
lining up at the door for you.
Anyway, okay. All right, let's move on. Kim, introduce the episode.
Well, today we are going to be talking about signs, synchronicities, just things that you probably are not even aware have been happening because you have not been, I guess, alerted to the fact that this stuff can happen.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of times, all you need to do is if you want to have a sign, a very big thing is you just sit and you ask your spirit guide or spirit in general and ask them to show you a sign to confirm or one of your loved ones. So you could be walking and, be maybe missing your mom if she's crossed over. And you could say, Mom, if you're here or you're around, please show me a feather. You can do that kind of stuff and things will happen. Um, I have a coworker who I guess she's no longer a coworker, but that doesn't matter. At one point she was kind of working with these signs and things. And she said, if such and such is going to happen, I want to have an angel. Show me an angel. Right.
Mhm.
So a couple days later, she hadn't told me or anything, but she told me the story after. So at work, we give out at Christmas. At one point, we would kind of each buy little gifts, and we would stick it in each other's stockings. It was just a staff thing. It was just our little thing that we would do for each other.
Yeah.
And one of the ladies gave us these little coins, like these little tiny, oddly shaped coins.
Okay.
And um, the one that my friend got was an angel on the back.
Oh, I love that.
So, what are the odds that you are going to make that? And then, within a couple days, you get gifted something and it has an angel on it.
I love that. You know how
Mhm.
common that is? That's like this. I actually had that something like that happen to me last week. I asked for a sign because I still do ask for them. And I was specific. I was very specific and I said, show me two keys and not just random keys, my keys in my hand, not my keys on my desk, not my sister's keys. Show me a pair of, or not a pair, show me keys twice today, and then I know that this is going to happen or that this is where the energy's headed, because that's how I am with signs. I ask for signs because I feel the energy going towards a separate way or going towards a way, and I just want confirmation. But anyway, I saw a key in somebody's hands that I usually never see keys in, because I'm not around this person quite often. And they were playing with these keys right in front of my face, so I thought that was funny. And then I saw a key literally right before I went to sleep that night, and I forgot that I had asked for to see two keys. So that's just a smaller scale. And I just asked, just it wasn't even anything important now that I think about it. It was just
Mhm.
I play with the universe in a sense like that. I will ask for signs all the time. I encourage my clients to ask for signs all the time, because often or not, we need the signs to help validate something that we want or that we feel that we are too scared to accept, whether it's positive or negative. We're too
Yep.
scared to accept it in our reality. So we're like, okay, well, if I, ask to see a pair of doves, then I know for sure my mom is looking out for me, right?
Mhm.
You will almost always get what you've asked for within 48 hours. Almost always, right?
Yep. I, so, I at one point, this same coworker, she was kind of started this stuff before I did, and I ha- I had my own little things, but I wasn't aware of numbers or things like that. And at this time, she was talking about, oh yeah, I see, 111, or she's talking about all these things that she sees, and I said, oh, I never see any of that ever. And after a little bit, I started seeing these numbers. And one thing I will never ever forget, and she is the one who has like put this in my head. And so I do it every single time, and I will always remember her for it. Was when we were talking, she says, if you ever see like 111 or 1111, like 1111, she says, you know that your thoughts are going out into the universe. At that moment, if you're not thinking positively or you don't have a positive thought, switch it to something positive. Think of something positive, because if it's something negative, you're going to keep throwing that out into the universe.
Yeah, I've heard that. And I
And
love that. I love that because I've heard that
yeah,
many times and I agree with it. It's a great way for you to like if you've done nothing but think against your favor all day and you see that 1111, that 444, that 333, whatever, you immediately switch your thoughts over. I think it's a great kind of learning technique to do. Oh,
yeah.
100%.
Well, and it will, and I know it maybe sounds a little bit, over the top, but it will change your life because you are now aware of your thoughts. You're aware of what you're putting out into the universe.
Yes.
You're aware what you are, because that's I'm a spiritualist, obviously. So I believe in spiritualism. And one of the seven principles, so we follow seven principles, kind of like there's the 10 commandments, but this is the seven principles. And that one is personal responsibility for every thought, word,
Yeah.
and action.
Yes.
And, that kind of sounds, oh, okay, whatever, but when you really think about it, it's like anything you think is going to go out in the universe.
100%.
Anything you say is going to go out in the universe.
Uh-huh.
Anything you do is going to go out in the universe. So whatever you're doing is going to multiply or go out there.
100%.
So if you're constantly grumpy and you're constantly mad at people, yeah, things aren't going to be great because you are throwing that out. You're throwing out in the universe like, oh, I never have a good day. And you're throwing all that out. Right.
Nope, seriously.
So
That's how it is.
once you start switching it, like, and catching, because it's not easy at first, especially, if you've been conditioned. And once you start switching it, you'll start to notice, like,
Oh,
things will just
100%.
start to open up. Things will just start to, you know, turn in your favor. And, if you just even use something as simple as numbers, and then you'll notice, at least I do all the time. My gosh. Like I I think I drive most people crazy because I will constantly be like 888 555. Oh, 1111. And it's just like constantly, oh, 1010. Like I'm always like looking and finding numbers like all the time.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
like I'll find them whether it's on, because I work in an office. So whether it's on paper or whether it's a phone number and then some of it's like all over the place, right? And I'll be like,
yeah.
look, or license plates. Oh my gosh, license plates just like
License plates.
constantly,
Yeah,
right? And that's another thing I will do is I will say, spirit, can you show me this? If this is going to, if this is whatever the plan is or whatever, if this is something,
uh,
whatever, um, can you show me this combination of numbers?
yeah,
And more than once, I have had right next vehicle beside me turns in those numbers,
yeah,
right? Uh,
yeah,
um, so that's when people can start looking up angel numbers, and there's books. You can Google. You can say like angel numbers. So if you're seeing a repeated number, like 27 or 92 or like any number at all that you always keep seeing, there's books you can Google and just say what does this number mean?
oh yeah,
And a lot
yeah,
of times it'll have especially if you're seeing it repeatedly, it's trying to give you a message.
yeah.
So you can go and look.
No,
However, you
absolutely.
can make it so that, um, because some numbers might have a little bit more of a challenging kind of an aspect to them. Because some people like 555 it's not like done, but you're going to have a major change.
Yeah,
So some places, sometimes you'll read it that it's like a negative change, but it's not. It's
no.
not. It's so it's whatever you're putting out there. So if you don't want to believe in what it is and you have your idea and feel like, okay, spirit, when I see this is what I'm going to know.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's going to happen,
Yeah,
right? And you'll just start to notice these things. Or there's the synchronicities where you can be thinking of, a loved one who's passed away, and maybe there's a song or a band that
um,
reminds you of them, and your radio, it'll just suddenly play,
yeah,
right? Just things like that. So that's them coming in saying, "Hi, I'm here. Remember
yeah,
me," because they know exactly what's going to get you.
yeah.
So those are things that will really, um, if you pay attention, it's going to definitely improve and like improve your life, improve your mood, make you realize you're not alone, because some of the stuff is just crazy.
No, it's
Um, you know, I had back years ago, I used to drive to like another town that was, a little bit from where I worked. And my very best friend had lost her husband. And just, around the time I moved actually. And everybody would talk about, "Oh, yeah, he sent me, I see this, I see that." And this was before any of this journey of mine. And I was like, "Why don't you ever talk to me? Like, why? Like, how come everybody else gets signs and I never
mhm.
get signs?" And like, I don't understand. It's because you almost get offended, right? Because everybody's like, "Oh, nice and this," and right? I'm like, "Why? Why don't you ever sign? Like, I talk to you." And out of God, driving down the road,
Okay.
and I had my garage door clicker on my, sun visor, like a lot of people
Yeah,
do.
of course. Yeah.
That thing flew off, it hit me in the head and landed in my lap, and I went, "Thank you."
I love that.
Because he was such a joker, he was so silly, he was always so funny,
Oh, that's funny.
he just had such a great sense of humor.
Mhm.
So, I knew that was him saying, "Hi, here, look." There you go. Like I literally needed to be hit in the head with something for him to be, because maybe he was communicating and I wasn't paying attention,
That's
right?
it, though. That could have been it. Yes.
So I literally needed to be hit in the head with, like, how many times have you had your garage door opener fly off and hit you in the head? I've never had it
Never.
since.
Never. Who
So I
has?
knew
Who
it
has?
was him.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's hilarious. Oh, I
you
love
know.
that.
so so those are the things that you got to kind of be open
Mhm.
to.
No,
And
you're absolutely right.
it's beautiful because you can connect yourself to these things and these memories and just have that lift to you, right?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a coincidence that the sink flew off while I was, like,
That's
giving
such
him
an
crap for
interesting.
not talking to me, right? Like,
Yeah.
of all
It's no
people.
such thing.
This is the guy that we would go over to his house because he's like my best friend's husband, right? I remember one time we went over to the house and he had a fishing rod because he's a huge fisherman. And he was like, this is a long time ago. So he was like changing the channels with his
Oh,
fishing rod because he didn't
okay.
want to get up and it was too lazy to look for the remote. Right. So, like, this is something the guy would have done.
Yeah.
It's just so funny that to think about the stuff you know, that I've come across.
Mhm.
And she lost her son 10 years after, his dad passed away,
Yeah.
and in true form, this whole family, they were, these boys were definitely, had a sense of humor.
Mhm.
His son was very their son, he was my godson, really into music. Like, he was learning to play, he was just very, he was just a musician, and just probably about 5 months before he crossed over, he actually went with his stepdad to LA and went to, like, this big, music, I don't even know what it's called, but, like, where all the bands are. Like, it
Mhm.
wasn't like Comic-Con, it was like they were there checking out, guitars and things like that. So he's got his, picture taken with
Yeah.
all of these people. And, he passed away probably about 5 or 6 months after. And so that was like an amazing thing to happen for him and to have those memories. So he was very connected to music. And I would take the bus and I had a little, like a little, I guess like an iPod, like my iPod, but it wasn't like, it was like it was just a little thing that actually you could stick like little, SD cards, is it what they're called? Like those
Okay.
little tiny
Yeah.
cards,
Yeah.
right, for
Yeah.
memory, and I had it in my computer charging it because it was like that's how I had to charge it, and I could hear, like, music, and I wasn't really sure where it was coming from. I hadn't touched it, I hadn't
Mhm.
turned it on, but it was on, and I
Wow.
don't know how I could hear it because there was no speakers in it or, like, no headphones in it, but
Yeah.
I could hear
You
it.
could hear it.
And then when I went to go look at it, the little SD card flew out and hit me in the face and into my lap. So just like his dad, you
Wow.
know, like, "Hey, I'm here." Right? Like, that stuff doesn't happen on its own,
No, it doesn't. No,
you
it
know?
doesn't.
So,
Oh, I love
y
that. That's crazy.
yeah, so I knew he was there. I knew he was, trying to get my attention.
Yeah.
And, so I was like, "Thank you. Thanks for that." Like, I love it, right?
Oh, I
It's
love
just
that.
yeah, it was very, very sweet.
See, those are the types of stories that I think are helpful for people who are nervous to ask for signs or nervous to reach out to their loved ones. I've heard so many people say, I'm not going to reach out to my mom. I'm not going to reach out to my dad or my spouse or whoever because when I reached out to this person when they passed away or this person when they passed away, nothing happened. They didn't show up in my dreams. They didn't do this. They didn't do this. How do you know? Because 9 times out of 10, we're actually not paying attention. We're not.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
And sometimes the signs they can come so subtly, but yet mean so much. Right. So
And there's so much energy.
yeah,
So much energy that takes
seriously.
them to do these things once they get over there, like, they have to orchestrate and they do it. So, these poor like, honestly, you gotta pay attention because these
Yeah.
poor spirits are trying to get your attention and you're just like, "La, la, 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 la." But there could be things popping off and everything,
Yeah.
and you're just like and they're probably like, "Jeez Louise, man.
Yeah.
You
No,
pay
but
attention."
that's seriously what it is, and I also think, I came across, like, so many people, that I am very aware what a lot of the public thinks about signs and synchronicities and angel numbers and whatnot.
Mhm.
When it comes to angels numbers, I mean, the universe is made up with numbers where it's mathematically we're scientific, whether people wanna believe it or not, it all bleeds into numbers. Everything is math, including angel numbers. If you do your research, you very well see that it's, of course, a spiritual thing, but it's also a very big, um, logical type of, I'm not going to get into that kind of stuff on the podcast, but it does mean something. So when people tell me, oh yeah, angel numbers, I roll, like, okay, 1111, look that up. Do your research as to what angels numbers mean, where they actually came from, and what they actually mean mathematically, because it will blow your mind how it all
Mhm.
connects that way. It's not just, hoo-ha. It's actually science. It's all related
Woo
scientific.
woo.
Um, but I also think, and I hate this, is that people who come down on others who believe in signs and synchronicities, angel numbers, what have you not, that say that, well, that stuff is, of course of course you're gonna see somebody wearing a Coke t-shirt because that's what you asked for. And now you're looking for a Coke t-shirt. I'm gonna tell you something. When somebody asks for signs, it's actually really rare that they're putting their day on hold to look for specifically what they are supposed to. They will ask for a sign. They're going to keep it open, but they're going to work. They're going to drive. They're going to eat. They're going to read. They're going to do their homework. They're going to take care of their kids. They're going to go about their day. They are not stopping everything to look and pinpoint for the sign. Okay.
Unless they have been getting too many readings and have
Yeah,
become
true.
addicted.
That's true. That is very true. That's very
So,
true.
but we've talked about mental health, so go back to that episode.
Yeah. Backtrack. You backtrack. But
The episode that dropped, what would it be? September 14th. Go look at the
yeah.
September 14th episode.
Yeah,
Mental
exactly.
health as well, you wanna talk about.
Seriously, right? And the one
Yeah.
before it. Anyway,
Yeah.
but yes, I don't think it's a bad thing when people look for this. If it gets excessive, like Kim says, and you're obsessive, that's when you've got to do something. But for most people, don't be a butthead about it, okay? Because people are asking for signs or need signs because it's giving them some comfort and validation that they need that they're not getting probably from you if you're in their life because you're
Mhm.
cynical and a butthead. So, therefore, they're asking, their higher power, whatever it is that they believe in, to give them that sign. So, if you're one of those people that are like, well, I don't believe in signs, but, my wife's always yammering about it, or my boyfriend's always yammering about it, let them yammer. Okay.
Yep.
And maybe look into why you can't possibly be supportive enough that they are asking for signs and synchronicities outside because maybe you aren't helping them with whatever they're looking for, right?
Well, to be honest, I'm sure most of the people listening to this podcast aren't gonna be in that realm of being, non-believers, but, you have to when you're right now, in particular, in the world right now, there is so many things that are going on that we don't know about.
Oh,
There is
100%.
stuff, that people are like, "Oh, they're crazy, they're this, they're that." You know what? There's there's some there's something
There
to
is.
whatever they're saying. So you can take part of it, you can take all of it, but if once you start opening your eyes, I guess like metaphorically, opening your eyes and awakening to things, you'll notice more.
Yeah.
And then you'll
100%.
be like, how did I never see this before?
Yeah. You do backtrack because then you start noticing one side. And you're like, oh my God, I saw this when this happened. Oh my God, I saw this, after this funeral. I saw this when she was on her deathbed. And then all of a sudden you backtracking and you realize you've been given all these sides and you've never opened your eyes, like Kim said, or paid attention. And then you see the pattern sometimes with when signs show up in your life and why they show up, what lessons they're planning to teach you, or who's trying to reach out to you when you're going through those hard times. Like there's so many people that I've read for that, that come across and they tell me, oh my God, it's so funny you said that because I didn't realize till years or months later that this meant that, my grandpa was always around, that this meant that my husband was trying to reach out. No, we don't. We don't pay attention sometimes, right?
Yep.
So I think it's very interesting. And I do support whoever's listening to this. And I'm sure, like Kim said, a lot of you are big believers in that. So you probably already asked for signs and all that kind of stuff. But if you don't, just try it and see what happens. What do you have to lose?
And start simple.
Yeah.
Just start simple. And when you ask for a sign, um, I would suggest, like if you haven't really done it before, kind of sit down, be settled. Don't be busy, looking at your phone or, trying to yell at your kids, asking them to do something, whatever, when you're like, talking to spirit. Because you can talk in your head. Uh, kind of get somewhere where you're comfortable, it's quiet, and then just say, Spirit, this is what I want. This is the sign I want.
Mhm.
And then I suggest, personally, I suggest, especially when you haven't done this before, maybe in your phone, make a little note,
Yeah.
in the notes or whatever, like this
Yeah.
day, this is what I asked for. That's it.
Mhm.
And then when you see something, you could be like, oh, I asked for it on this day,
Yep. Let it go.
just so you have it.
Surrender.
Because my brain is like civish, like, cause I could be like, oh, hey, I want the sign. And then I'm sure maybe it's like probably like marching band right past me, but I forgot that I asked. And then it's like, oh, did I ask for that?
Yeah, and then you remember months or weeks later. But that's actually a very good tip. When you're asking for a sign, when you feel desperate enough, when you do it, ask for it in stillness, however you need to. I've had people tell me that they've, experienced their dark soul of the night, as it's called, and they're asking for signs with, as they're sobbing. As
Hmm.
they're praying, as they, are going through their purging moment, and they ask for signs. And usually, because those moments are so intense in our lives, they forget about them. And then they're hit with the sign a day or two later, right? Or even hours later. So I think it's such a good idea if you are asking for a specific sign, write it down quickly, and then let it go, move along your day, because like Kim's right, you are absolutely going to see it. Absolutely.
And to even further feed into it, maybe have a place, have in your journal that you're dating when you're writing in it, the day you find it, write down all the stuff around that scenario. And, and you'll
Absolutely.
start to see patterns and you'll start it's like spirit will start talking to you. So you'll start forming that relationship,
I
but
love
have it
that.
written down because then you'll like, oh, I remember when I did this. So when you start feeling down, like, oh, I never get signs. I never did. Well, read your darn journal
Mhm.
and you'll see that that is not true. You'll see those instances and how profound they were at the time.
Yeah. Oh, that's
And
such a
then
good idea. Very important to date it, like Kim said. We've talked about this in a few episodes. Whenever you're journaling, whenever you're working on your spirituality, always make sure to date it, because you'll be surprised at what you learn when you go back and read all your old entries, all your old notes and stuff, and the changes that you're going to notice among yourself. Is like sensational,
and to
honestly.
see the growth that you've got,
Yes.
gone through by doing it, especially when you have the people just it just happens, right? People start getting down and, oh, I'm stuck here. I'm, whatever. And but if you go back and you start reading your journals because you've been writing in it diligently with dates,
Hmm.
uh, then you'll start to see like, oh my gosh, I remember when I used to think like this. But I don't think
Absolutely.
like that anymore because I now think this. So you can you
Oh, I
can
love that.
see the growth, you can see how you've developed, and it'll just give you a sense of peace because then you can say like, okay, yeah, you know what? I'm being too hard on myself.
No, I absolutely love that. I absolutely love that. It also goes with if you have, I mean, this is the number one struggle for so many people who lose a loved one, is that the number one thing they say, and it's actually our question actually at the end. One of the questions at the end of this episode is going to be related to this, but um, when they lose their spouse, they lose their loved one, or whoever it is that crosses over, and then they say, "I've not dreamt about them. They're not showing up for me," kind of like what you went through. Like, why aren't they doing that? Like, do they not care? It doesn't exist. That means, when we die, we become nothing, blah, blah, blah. And we all go through those frame of minds. Um, and I think it's important that for people to realize, if whoever it is that you are asking for a sign for, who's passed over, um, ask them, know that it's coming. I've had so many people be like, I've asked for dreams, but I've never dreamt about them. This was my husband of 35 years and he never showed up in a dream. How do you know? We don't remember our dreams. Most of us can't, we don't lucid dream because we don't know how. So don't tell me that you didn't dream about your husband or you didn't dream about your mother, because I guarantee you did, probably more than once. You just don't remember. Okay. And then there are techniques that help you remember, right? So a really big one is when people ask me, how can I get, signs for my loved one when when I'm sleeping, right? Because then they visually get to see them, not just, smell them or feel them, their energy around them during the day, but when you're sleeping, you visually get to see them again. And so I understand the heartache and the pain of wanting to see them and asking for that and then not receiving it, right? But
Mhm.
you have to remember you most likely did receive it. Probably the night that you asked, you just can't remember it all.
And I've been told it's a good idea if you want to keep like a notepad and a pencil beside the bed, so you could just even just drop down a couple things, so
Mhm.
that not necessarily waking yourself fully up, but you're putting it down. So there'll be some trigger points for you to figure out, and have your memory come back to what maybe what's happened.
Oh, I do
Um,
that. I have a little notepad. I'm a big lucid dreamer. I remember all my dreams. And I still will wake up right in the morning at like 5 a.m. before I start my day. And if I remember quickly, I write down little tiny pieces of my dream. And then I dream read, as it's called. So I totally push people to do that because there are times where, I don't mind sharing this. I lost somebody who was very close to my family about 2.5 years ago. And it definitely destroyed part of my family because she was a beacon of light. And I had thought so many times that I hadn't dreamt about her because I couldn't remember. And I would, wake up every day and I would write whatever I remembered. And then I remembered, I went back on my notes and I dreamt about hummingbirds several times. Hummingbirds, what the hell? What, hummingbirds was her favorite bird, and her ashes are in a hummingbird necklace with my kids. And I dreamt about hummingbirds after she passed how many times.
there you
I could remember the whole dream, but I remember being hummingbirds. That's one example. And that's when I realized, okay, Nicole, shutty, shut the ego, because you obviously dreamt about
go.
this person more than once and you just
Yep,
weren't remembering. So that's a
absolutely.
good example. So I think it's a very, very smart idea to write down even if all you remember in your dream is that you had an ice cream sandwich, because it might lead to something.
Mhm.
Like, yeah,
I don't really ever remember them too much unless they're extremely, like, unless it's an actual, like, full out visitation, like, there's a
yeah.
reason to it. I haven't had a lot of them, but the ones I have had, they're very profound. You'll never forget them because you will remember them as if you were there because you
Mhm.
were, right? But normally, I'm the one who'll be kinda walking around going, "Dream that?" Like, it just these weird stuff will come,
Yeah,
"Did this really happen or did I
yeah,
dream that?" Like,
yeah.
and then it'd be like, "Oh my gosh, that was a weird dream. How weird am I?" I'm very weird, by the way, but yeah, like, it's just
Like good
some of
people
this
are.
stuff, right? So, um, one very, I guess I talked about my journey and about my friend and talking to her and saying, "Will you please be with me?" And, all the stuff we were
Mhm.
gonna do when she was, preparing to cross over. And so she passed away on January 28th, and her birthday was February 22nd. And so, she was very short of her birthday, but she had the twos, right, in her name. And then so I decided, well, we should have her funeral on February 2nd. Just to try to,
Love it.
I don't
Two
know,
to
you
one.
just get these weird things for me. And it was just prior to her passing away, I had gone on a trip and she really wanted to go. The nurses were really kind of awful because they would get mad at me for bringing her magazines of like travel. Like, "Oh, she's not gonna do that." Well, I don't really care. Like, this is none of your business. Can she not dream? Right? So, we would talk about her coming on a vacation with me, and, that's what we would talk about, like, "Oh, we're gonna go on a girls' trip, and we're gonna do all this stuff," just the stuff we talked about. And, it doesn't harm what you're gonna talk about. And so, it was Valentine's Day. And when I'd gone on this trip, at the time, I took a picture at the Grand Canyon at sunset, right? So there was a picture. It was me and my then husband. And so we had a picture in the picture frame, and it was like on a table. And above there was a mirror, and we had her card from the funeral there, right? So
Okay.
it's facing me and
Love
the
it.
picture. So it was all there. On Valentine's Day, and her favorite color was red. On Valentine's Day, I came home. And somehow, nobody's been there. This is before I had children, anything.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Somehow, the card from her funeral had come, turned around, so it's her face was against our faces, wedged inside that picture.
Oh my God.
And it
I
was
got
just like,
goosebumps.
wow, I know you're there. I know you're here.
Oh, I love that. What a
She was
beautiful
just,
sign.
and and you can't tell me that that was just something
No,
that happens,
no.
right?
Hmm.
There was nobody in my house. And
Hmm.
for it to like they weren't the table was below the mirror, but how does
It's
it come
crazy.
off, flip itself, and wedge itself like that?
There's stories like that that just so hard to logically define. Do you know what I mean? It's so hard to
Mhm,
try to
mhm.
work against. And I love that. I love that because as you know, as logical as this stuff can get, there are moments in life, and life is a series of moments that you can't define like that. And do you
Yep.
really want to define those moments like that anyway? You know, there's so many
No,
people.
because I knew in my heart what it meant.
Exactly. So why, right? Like, and the only reason I bring it up is because sometimes I meet people who ask for signs and they get amazing, beautiful signs like that. And then they're like, well, but you know what? Then I thought about it. I probably fell over. It was the wind. No, 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 no. Don't logic your way out of it to what? To feel worse. Um, yeah. So I don't know. I just think that's a beautiful story. It's beautiful.
Well, I have another one. If people know me, they know that I really love ladybugs. And she is the reason I love ladybugs. Because she's, it was like she loved red. She was just so bright. And to me, ladybugs are just happy. They're their life,
Yeah.
their love. When they kind of open their wings, it kind of looks like a heart.
They're so
So I
pretty.
just
Yeah.
love that stuff about them, right? And when because she passed away in, the dead of winter, it was I think June or something, early July, and we went to the cemetery, and so we were burying her ashes that day.
Mhm.
So her ashes were on they have it on like a little thing, right? And we were doing a bit of a ceremony. It was very, very intimate. It was just a few of us. So just before it started, as we were getting ready and basically turning our attention to the urn and stuff, a ladybug came out of flying. I'm not sure where from, but it came and it kind of grazed my cheek and it landed on the urn. And the
Oh,
whole time that we were doing the ceremony, this ladybug just walked around on the top of this urn
and just stayed there
while
the
we
whole
did the
time.
whole thing. And the whole time. And when we said goodbye and it was time for it to go, the ladybug flew up, hit me in the cheek again, and left.
Oh my gosh. Did anybody notice
And so
other than you?
I've told a couple people, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I told her mom because her mom was there, and I was like, "Did you see that ladybug?" And she's like, "Yeah, yeah." So she knew. Her mom's with her now, but yeah, like it was
I
just
love that.
wow, And then I would have weird times after that, if I'd be thinking about her, missing her. And I remember it was like February,
Mhm,
uh, cold. Um, and my ensuite, there's no windows anywhere near there.
mhm.
In February, in my bathroom, I had a ladybug land on my sink.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere.
Oh, I love that. I love that. You see
Yeah,
that?
it
And
was crazy.
I like the story of at her funeral because that was a collectively shared moment. Like her mom was there. She got to see it as well. Like
Hmm.
that is special. That is special to me. Because more oftentimes than not, we are
Eh,
alone with the signs that we see, right? So when we get to experience it with somebody close with us or so, like, I think that's phenomenal. Yeah.
well, now, there were times I'd be on the bus when I used to take the bus still. there'd be times I'd be on the bus, and then suddenly a little ladybug would be just kinda suddenly just appear on the little side and be walking around the window.
That's
There's just so
happening
many
here.
times, I was in my office, and it's all of a sudden I have pictures of it, right? All of a sudden, this little ladybug just shows up, and it's winter, just shows up on, like, a
Oh
blue
my God.
folder. Like, "What is going on here?"
I love that.
So, yeah, and that's my connection. So I see ladybugs, that's who I think of,
See, I
I
love
can't see
that.
a ladybug without thinking of her.
Oh, I
Mhm,
love it. You know what? Like I hope whoever listening to this one, if you feel inclined to share your stories like what Kim has, and a couple that I'm going to read.
mhm.
I have two stories that I'm going to read that are similar to Kim, because I think they're so inspirational and they lift people up. And they help people realize, first of all, you're not the only one out there that is getting these signs. So never think you're crazy or nuts for asking about them or receiving them, because I think it's such a gift that you do. So if you feel like brave enough or you feel inclined to, please share them in the comments below your story, because I think that it would be amazing for people to read, um, especially when it deals with people who are no longer with us, you know?
Mhm. And that it's a hard thing to go through, like, her passing was extremely profound for me because
Hmm.
it's what even though when think back, like, "Oh gosh," especially doing this podcast, I'm thinking, I was doing those things before
Right.
I really knew, right? Like, and I was completely oblivious to the fact that I was doing it. I just thought it was just something I did, right? Um, but her crossing was so profound. It's what started my journey. So to be able to have that connection and to see ladybugs and think of her, and I just know she's there when I see
Yeah.
ladybug.
See, that's comforting. That's exactly what it should be like. Signs, that kind of stuff should not be
Mhm.
scary. It doesn't have to be scary. Because most often when we get signs, they're to comfort us. They're to show us, hey, we're still here, or hey, you're on the right path. Keep going, keep going. You're guided, you're protected.
Yep. Yep.
And I think it's very important. To have that. There was a couple stories I did come across where people got signs that stopped them from, getting on a bus that was about to crash. I'm not reading any of those ones, but there was a quick story about this woman who she was late for work, and she always took this one bus, and this bus was very very late, and she says that I got OCD and I really didn't want to take another bus, but all of a sudden I couldn't like stop from thinking, don't get on this bus, get on a new bus, get on a new bus, get on a new bus, right, over and over and over and over again. And then she said that she just felt compelled, and at one point she thought she had heard her grandmother's voice in her head saying, get on the other bus. And then she's like, the second she heard it in her grandmother's head, she just got on the other bus. She got to work. Everything was fine. Everything is good. She was working her shift. The next morning, she finds out the bus that she originally was supposed to take got into a car accident and said sent seven people, including the bus driver, into critical condition at the hospital. And one of the seats that she usually sits at very front behind the bus, those were the people that got into the accident. And she said, and I read this and I got goosebumps. I got goosebumps again just thinking about it. And she said, "Am I crazy? Am I nuts? Because I heard my grandmother's voice." And all these people were like, "Nope, you were not. You were close to your grandmother. You've always," because she did profess it by saying she always asked for signs from her grandma. Sometimes she get them. Sometimes she go through period of time she never got them. She thought her grandma would forget about her, and all of a sudden, she was fighting against her urge to get on a different bus. And it was her grandma's voice that was like, get on that other bus. And she did it. And she said and it was the weirdest thing ever. And she just like, she's so grateful and she's so thankful. And it's very important, I think, to listen to that stuff and to pay attention.
Well, and that's
Anyway.
the same thing too. If something happens and say something makes you late to going
Yeah.
somewhere, you
Yes.
know, you don't know. It's probably unless you're, just chronically late, but it's very likely that these little things that kept just like, those days you just can't seem to
Yeah.
get anything together. It's like, "Oh, I forgot my keys. Oh, I forgot my where's my phone?" And very often you're going to probably hear that you missed something significant.
And
that
this
you
is what happened
weren't
to her.
involved in.
Yeah. This is what happened to her.
Yep.
She was very much so, "No, I won't take another bus. I always take this bus." She's like, "I'm so OCD. I'm diagnosed with it. Everything has to be just so. I don't like change. I don't like to this." And I was fighting the urges for like 25 minutes. And I'm like, "Oh my God, the bus is already 15 minutes late. I'm going to be late for work." No, but I'm not going to take that other bus. I won't. I won't. And then look at, and yeah, that's
Yep.
crazy. Like I absolutely love that story. So yeah, listen to signs. Even if you
So
think
you
that
have
they
some
are,
stories, right?
I do. I do. I have two stories, and they're both small. It's very hard because there's so many good stories out there with signs. Um, but I
Mhm.
found that these two were probably the most relatable. Because I've had this happen to me. I'm sure a lot of people have. So this first story, and she's doesn't want me to say her name, so that's fine. But she said that a
That's fine.
few, yeah, it's fine. So, Nikki, a few days after my boyfriend died, I was attempting to nap in a chair in my living room. My parents were at the house taking care of me because I wasn't doing very well. His death was very sudden. They were upstairs and trying to be quiet to let me rest. Okay. I kid you not, I heard my name whispered right next to my ear, and it sounded exactly like my boyfriend's voice. It was clear as day, and it was known that he would wake me up from a nap to make sure that I was eating, and he was the only one who could do it without me getting cranky about it. My parents were upstairs, and it was just the dogs next to me. When I opened my eyes and heard his voice, my dogs were looking up past me near the wall. Okay. Another time,
Wow.
I was mailing a portion of his ashes to have jewelry made from them. They were being overnighted, and the tracking code, the package had randomly begun with his initials and his favorite number, and get this, his birthday, the tracking number.
Oh, see,
Eh,
perfect.
See?
Yeah,
And then she
perfect.
said, I also went to a tarot reader, not you, so sorry, LOL. And it was spur of the moment, but I just wanted to see what they had available, okay? Without prompting, she asked me if I had somebody on the other side who had a lot of facial hair, like Bushman hair. And I started to laugh because my boyfriend had a big beard and mustache. And I said yes. And she asked me if something had happened to his head and pointed to the spot where my boyfriend suffered the life-ending incident. Okay. She says, I know that some people
Mm,
even use mediums and psychics or the other side, but I'm sorry, these are way too many experiences for it to be dismissed, that it is nonsense. Like that was
yeah, those are
uh
beautiful that
yeah,
she has that connection, and that's what people who are grieving need
yeah. And I love
to
that
to
because
to be aware that those loved ones are not
yeah,
gone.
yeah. And I love that story so much because number one, it had there's your numbers. The entire tracking number was his initials, his birthday, and his favorite number all in one thing. She couldn't believe it. And animals do see what we don't see. Not just cats, it's dogs too.
Mhm.
My dog sees, okay, and he's a little one. So it's very common.
They see.
That's why I really liked that story because I thought, wow, you had both things. And how many times have we woken up, any of us, thinking somebody said our name, right? It's happened to me
Or even
so
just
many
been walking
times.
down the street and you're like, "What?"
Yeah.
"Who said my name?"
Yeah. Yeah. So that's another thing. That's like another one. But the next one I have is very short. And so she says, and this is Sharon, sorry, her name is Sharon. 1 month after her 9-year-old daughter passed away, three butterflies appeared in my bathroom. They're beautiful white butterflies. Okay. It was January, the dead winter, and it's never happened before. And it's never happened in the 5 years that I had stayed there. I think she made sure I wouldn't miss the butterflies, and it was sent to my personal space. And I didn't know why. So I kept asking for more butterflies to see if it was her. She sent three more butterflies a few days later. These times they were blue, and they were sitting right in front of me at my kitchen window. I had completely forgotten that her wallpaper at the very top of the border had nothing but white and blue butterflies. Isn't that crazy?
Mm,
I loved
yeah,
that
that's
story, okay?
awesome.
I loved it. She's like, "I completely forgot because it was such an old bordered wallpaper that we were gonna change, and we just never did." And at first, I was confused as to why the 3 white butterflies were shown, but I instinctively knew they were from her. That is why I asked for the other 3. But look at that. It took her
Oh,
about 3 to
that's so
4 days
beautiful.
after to realize when she was in her room, oh my God, when she looked at the border, that's what it was. You see, sometimes when we're not 100% paying attention, we know, but we don't know why something's happening the way it is. It will show itself to us a few days later. It always does. Always.
Like the clink, clink, clunk.
Yeah.
It's spinning
Seriously.
around for you, and then
Seriously.
there you go,
And
right?
and don't feel bad if you ever actually miss the signs because Kim and I, like Kim said, I mean, I miss them too all the time. All the time.
Mhm.
Right? We're human. It
Well,
happens.
obviously, I think I'm pretty sure I was missing till it had to be escalated and be hit in the head.
Thrown at your
I'll
head.
never forget that. I was
What?
like, of all people, yes, I could see him doing that, right? Like, he
I
was
love
so
that.
funny.
I
And my
absolutely
friend,
love that.
someday I'll have to ask her to maybe submit some of her stories because
Yes.
between losing her husband and her son, she's got some amazing she's had people come up to her, give her things, she's had ordered things, and they've come with other gifts, and it's amazing the things that she has received, and it's all because of her her boys. And actually, well, her husband, she was pregnant with her 3rd child when he crossed over,
Mhm.
and so it was a little bit after, she had the baby, and she really needed some time. And she won an all expense paid, like we had to drive, but they gave us money for it, paid trip to is it now the one in Banff, the Banff Springs Hotel.
Okay, yeah.
And so like it's a big fancy place, and it was a we could have done golf or spa vacation, and we were like
Oh,
spa vacation.
yeah.
So we had like these amazing spa treatments. They gave us all these things that weren't even included. Like we got these
Mhm.
house coats, and it was like this whole weekend in this place. And it was such a fun time and just so needed. And of all people to get it,
Being there.
her husband always makes sure that she's taken care of.
I love that. See, that's beautiful. Oh
Hmm.
my God, this episode was so I loved it. I love this. I mean, I love all our episodes, but this one I just feel was so comforting and light and exciting.
Yeah.
Absolutely loved it. I
So do we
love
have a
this episode.
question?
So we did have a question. Give me a second here. I have it written down here. I had a couple. The one was about how, dreaming and whatnot, but like Kim said, we had already pre-answered that one. You'll figure it out. Write it down because guaranteed that loved one that you asked to dream about has probably came that night. You just weren't 100% lucid dreaming. But you'll be able to figure it out. Okay. Give me a
And
second.
ask. Maybe say, "Look, I'm not really remembering these things, so," or, "I might not, can you maybe do something to help me remember?"
Oh, see, that's good advice too. Absolutely. Absolutely, because that will also be answered 100%. So I do have this one, which was
Mhm.
interesting before, and I've answered it on, a manifestation quantum entanglement type um, platform, and I've also answered it spiritually. But I have had many people ask me this, and throughout the course of my tarot stuff. But I actually had somebody at work recently ask me the same thing, and she said sometimes I feel like I'm getting too much signs, specifically angel numbers, and I don't know what to do about it. That's a good one.
Well, I would say, like, if you're looking at what it is, there's a reason why you're continually getting it. So you need to figure out what it's trying to tell you, and you need to do it. Like if it says, you need balance in this and that, then look for the balance. Look for
Mhm.
what you're missing because it's still saying, like, hey, 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 hey. So you're still missing. So you got to go inside yourself and go, what am I missing? Because they're trying to show me something.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
I know personally, like numbers can drive you crazy because you're just like, what does that mean? What does that mean? And you can
Yeah.
just kind of go off on another thing. But when you're continually seeing something, there's a reason for it. They're trying to get your attention. That's how they get your attention. So you need to, just, okay, what does this mean? And go through the whole thing and see how it resonates with you. And you should, at some point go, "Oh, maybe I need to do this." And you need to check that ego because your ego's gonna be,
Yes.
"Oh, you're perfect. You're doing fine. We love
Oh,
it that you're just running off the rails. That's what we do." Like
absolutely.
they're just trying to make you not, you know? So just let it go and go, "Okay." And or even say, "Okay, spirit, I'm seeing this number continually. Can you help me figure out what it is that I need?
Mhm. Oh, I think
What do
that's
I
just
need to do? What are you
guys.
trying to tell me?"
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's really all you need to do is just
Yeah.
ask because their spirit's not going to help you unless you ask.
100%. I was just going to say that. Remember what we talked about in the last episode. And honestly, guys, I have myself, and as Kim has, we get bombarded sometimes with these signs and these numbers like for weeks on end. And I will literally be like, what the hell are you trying? Like, what the hell does this mean? Okay. Like, I've had enough. Right. And that's usually when I know, first of all, ego, that's no good. Second of all, take
Mhm.
space, be still, be silent, and just pull back. I find a lot of times if you feel you're overburdened and you keep seeing, 111 and 333 and 888 and it's driving you crazy, stop. Stop for a second. Yeah, Google what they mean. That might help you. Absolutely. Most times people Google what it means and they still don't stop seeing them and they get even more crazier. And just like Kim said, ask what it means. What are you supposed to do? Or even ask to stop seeing it because you need a break and you need a different kind of sign.
Mhm.
Any of that stuff will work. I'm telling you. A lot of people tell me that when they feel overloaded, they'll meditate or pray, which I think is also amazing. It's the same kind of thing, right? You're asking for
Mhm.
help, you're
Mhm.
meditating, you're trying to figure it out. So if you do feel overburdened, please, you're not the only one. We all feel that from time to time. It gets really annoying, so we're with you, trust me.
Yes.
Um, but so much you can do to kind of lighten
Absolutely.
it up. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. And just enjoy it. Know that it's a gift to you and it's a gift for your development and it's a gift for your heart. It's a gift of love. It's a gift of guidance. So just
Hmm.
see it as that, you know, and
Absolutely.
appreciate it and, thank thank whoever is giving it to you, like thank you for that.
Absolutely. Oh, I love that. I love it so much. Okay, guys, we're wrapping up this
Mhm.
episode. I think it was another great one. I look forward to reading any comments, any emails that you guys have. Shoot them below. Send that email, of course, if you'd like. You can remain anonymous. We don't care. But we'd love to hear your stories about some signs, some synchronicities. Please, if you feel
Mhm.
comfortable with us sharing it, because Kim and I have discussed we're going to do some episodes that are just story based because a lot of people like the story. So we would definitely feature one of yours, if not all of yours. Right. And yeah,
Mhm.
first of all, I'm really excited. Kim, can you introduce what the next episode is? I'm so freaking excited for it.
Yes. So I have had the incredible blessing of getting taught some lessons from spirit. So next episode, we're going to talk about life, death, and the other side.
Yeah, yeah. I think
So
that
it's going to be stuff. It's not going to be scary.
yeah.
It's going to be very heartwarming. And I can tell you that the things that I've been taught have been so profound that they've made me cry my face all the way home, looking like a crazy lady, like not really knowing why all of a sudden I'm crying and,
Oh,
and you can't control it. But that's fine because that's part of my journey. So thank you
absolutely.
so much for joining us. We're incredibly grateful for every
So
one
great.
of you who has subscribed and liked and shared. And please keep doing it because we want to get the numbers up there so that we can get this out. This is a project of love
Yes.
for both of us. And we just hope that you are enjoying it. And we want you to be involved. So send us your stories, send us your ideas. And we definitely will take a look and work on getting everybody's stuff out so that you can share as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, guys, I hope you have a fantastic day, a fantastic week, and we cannot wait for you guys to join us for the next episode. Okay, guys, I hope you have a
Yes.
good day.
Thank you.
Bye.
Okay. Take care. See you next time and keep an eye for those signs.
That's right.